Easy now. Papa got this, make it happen.
Come down. Ooh, you make my high come down. Always tripping when you come around. I'ma have to cut you off, like right now. You see, I don't want to drive me. You can say that for your mama. Maybe you should smoke some. Me try the marijuana. I was never you good. The vibe was straight. Showed you a couple of things and they ain't finished change. I treated you right. Everything was a gift from a time to your bag and the color on your lip. Yeah, you
Welcome to the Seahawks Man-to-Man podcast, powered by The Athletic. Shout out to the company. My name is Michael-Shawn and I'm here with my co-host, Christopher Kidd. Make sure you follow us both up on the tweet machine and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Seahawks Man-to-Man on YouTube. Chris, talk to him.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy, Christopher Kidd. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at CKIDD206 and that's CKid206.
We have a very special guest on the podcast, on the Seahawks Man-to-Man podcast. He's been supposed to come on the show for a long time. He's a legend, Seahawks legend for a million reasons, arguably one of the greatest Seahawks of all time. We have Bobby Wagner joining us. I didn't even say what team he played for now. Just noticed that I just mentioned Seahawks stuff. But welcome to the show, Bobby. What's going on?
Appreciate it. I'm good, man. Chilling.
So anybody who watches us regularly knows that like we've made it a point almost every time we have another player on, like, hey y'all, can you tell Bobby to come join the show? And so I can't believe we've been doing this podcast since 2017. We had Shaq on, Lockett. Plus we have Jerron Brown, Lano Hill, Nico Thorpe, Jermaine Ifedi, Quandre on twice. We've had a bunch of people twice. On, and Bobby Wagner doesn't join the show until he doesn't join the show though, Chris, until he's a member of the Rams.
I mean, it came at the right time though. It's good. We're all good.
Yeah, no, better late than never.
Absolutely.
To throw that out there. We are just happy to have you. And one of the fun things about having players on, you guys have so many stories about your time with the Seahawks, some that we know, some that we don't. And one I want to talk about kind of going all the way back since the 10-year anniversary of the Seahawks taking you and Russ and Turbin and Bruce is your 2012 pre-draft visit with the Seahawks. I want to take that all the way back. You've said it sucked. I think you're on the record saying that you and Ken Norton didn't get along right then. There was so much that went on with them telling you your kidneys weren't functioning properly at the time. But I want to talk specifically about that with Ken Norton. Like, what was that? Because you guys mean so much to each other now. Going back to then, what was so bad about that first meeting when you came to visit the Seahawks?
Well, it was just because I missed the combine because of my kidneys. I had to do like, I think it was maybe 16 teams in 18 days or 18 teams in 20 days or something like that. And I think I got a break in one of those days because I was supposed to visit Dallas and there was like tornadoes that day. So that gave me a break. And so by the time I got to the Seahawks, I was kind of burnt out. And so I was ready to be done. And so when I went there, it didn't go that great. You know, between them telling me that my kidneys weren't functioning well to, you know, my encounter with Nort. And so I just knew I was under the impression that they were not interested. And so I walked away from that meeting thinking there's no way I go to Seattle, especially just like being in the meeting room with Coach Norton, and he was, you know, like kind of like gassing me up for the first like maybe 5 to 10 minutes, talking about family and interest and why I play the game, and everything was chilled. And he was like, "Man, we're gonna watch some film." And you know, as soon as we watched film, he changed to a totally different person. And it was like the first 5 plays were like my best plays ever, and then for the rest of the time, it was every bad play ever. He even went back to like freshman year when I got like one play in a game and it wasn't even anything. And he was just getting on me. Like even that play, he was just like, he said something along the lines of, he showed a play and I was like, well, Coach, I didn't even play that lot that game. Like, he's like, yeah, I could see why.
Oh my God.
I was just like, dang, who is this guy? This guy is killing me right now. And he was just doing that the whole time. And I was just like, by the time I left, we kind of ended up going back and forth. And I just told him, like, man, like, y'all don't got to draft me. But I just hope for y'all's sake that I don't end up in a division, because if I do, I'm going to make sure that I I'm gonna come at your head, and I will make sure I tackle someone in your vicinity.
Oh wow.
And that's kind of how we left the meeting. Then I walked into John's office, and that's John told me that my kidneys still weren't functioning right, and they wanted me to stay in Seattle for another day, and I was just like, no, I'm not staying in Seattle another day. Forget what y'all talking about. Like, I'm good. Y'all ain't gonna draft me anyway. Like, I look forward to playing y'all. And so when I left, I'm like, I kind of, kind of got into it with Nort, and I kind of got into it a little bit with John over the kidney stuff. So I'm like, man, they probably think I'm crazy. Pick me, and so, and then they picked me, and then Nort was like one of the first people after Pete and John that talked to me, and was just like, man, you passed, and I was like, passed what? And he was like, the test. I was like, that was a test? He was like, yeah, everybody comes in and they just give us all these good answers, and everybody's so prepped. And so we wanted to see what would happen if, like, if we said stuff that you didn't hear, how would you respond? Like, other guys responded like, I understand why you feel that way. I'll work on myself. And you responded in a way where we was like, oh, we want to have that guy on our team. So, it was, I didn't know it was a test, but I'm glad I passed.
That's funny that now 10 years later you are in the division,
right?
And yeah,
we'll get
to, yeah.
You said Seattle.
Something still happen.
Exactly. You mentioned that Seattle will always be your home. Beyond the relationship with players, coaches, what about Seattle specifically made this place feel like home for you these past 10 seasons?
I just think it's a place where I grew up. I experienced a lot of stuff. I've been away from home for a very long time. And so when I was like 18 and like 20 plus, I was living in Utah, going to Utah State. And then really from like 21 to now 31, 32, that was really like my growth. And so I was just been in the city. And so I've been around the city. The people are amazing. The fans are amazing. There's a crazy basketball culture here, and everybody comes back. There's a genuineness from the people that were born here, the people that moved here. And even like when you look at it, the guys that I played with, a lot of them still live here, just because of how amazing the city is and all the opportunities. It's still growing as a city, getting better. Hopefully, we got an NHL team. Hopefully we get a basketball team, and just it's a place where you want to be a part of the growth. And so that's kind of why I feel that way.
I had it is also super cool. Me and Chris are two guys from here. So yeah, seeing guys like you from Cali and Doug stay here, Cliff stay here, and KJ stay here, guys who are from Florida, Mississippi. Doug's also from Florida. Like, it's kind of cool for us. Like, oh, y'all like Seattle. That's what's up. Yeah. Y'all stay in the rich part. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, that's fine. Y'all rich.
We stay in a decent area.
Yeah. No, y'all living good. I seen KJ on House Hunters. He had the heated toilet. Like, yeah, he was doing good.
Was that really his house though? Like, nobody's really gonna put their house out there.
Yeah, I don't think that.
I'm not gonna air the show out, but.
Yeah, no, I don't think any of those shows, even going back to like MTV with Cribs, I think they were renting houses and then otherwise you get robbed.
Yeah, for sure. Like, if you put your location up, it's like, why would not, like, as a person who wants to rob you, why would I not just go where you live?
Right. Yeah, no, you're right. There's a little, we're peeking behind the curtain a little bit, but I want to, I had a recent conversation with Richard Sherman for a story I did on you. He was like, hey, no, arguably Bobby's the greatest Seahawk ever. And we don't need to debate that or anything, but yeah, because I said arguably, phrasing the question, he was like, no, arguably, like, look at the all pros, check the numbers. Yeah. But perhaps a more interesting thing that he talked about was like how you as a personality fit the puzzle that they needed at the time. Like, there were guys who were rah-rah guys. There were guys who were like kind of like silent assassins, guys who were like really held other people accountable, guys who were leaders, role models. It was a little bit of everything. Like, he likened it to a car. It was like, this was the engine, this is the wheels, and like, we needed Bobby to be a piece. I forget which piece he said, but like, you just kind of fit right in. Like, one quote that he said, he was like, you know, the players are the ones in the huddle. You know, somebody messes up or getting mad at each other. That's us to calm each other down and say, hey man, it's cool. Or in the locker room when there's tension building in a situation, to put that fire out before it becomes an inferno. He said, I think there were certain situations Bobby could have reacted in a different way to certain situations, but he didn't. And that allowed us to take huge steps forward instead of huge steps back. And that was really like interesting to like put your contribution to the greatest era of Seahawks football into context. So I want to ask you then, like, were you cognizant of how you're fit, like what you needed to be for that team? You know what I mean?
I'd be lying if I said I did. I was just being myself. I think that was the biggest thing. And that was what made our group the best. Like we were all just ourselves, and we just maximized who we were, and we grew with who we were. And so, you know, similar to what Sherm was saying, you know, you had guys that were loud, you had guys who had, you know, that did speeches, you had guys who were quiet, and you know, I think me being level-headed and being able to connect and adapt with every different personality was probably what I was able to do. Like I could talk trash if I wanted to with Sherm. I can, you know, be quiet like Cam. I can get riled up like Mike Bennett. Like it was just, for me, it was just trying to, you know, being able to adapt and relate to everybody on the team. So that way we can all be on the same page. And that was my thing, is just making sure at the end of the day, you know, we were all on the same page and all trying to achieve the same thing. And, you know, it was something that I grew to understand. You know, I wasn't conscious of it at first, but then I started to understand and want to develop more as a leader. And then it kind of just, the framing behind it started to kind of put the pieces together.
So I didn't ask Sherm a follow-up because he was short on time, but when he mentioned that Inferno thing, I wanted to like, yo, how close were you guys to some really bad fires behind the scenes in like the heyday? Like how close did it get to like things really exploding with all the alpha males you guys had behind the scenes?
It was all the time, to be honest. Like it was a lot. There was a lot of times where, you know, we was close. And then there was a lot of times where it happened. Like it happened, and then you, like, the fire is happening and you had to, you know, put the water and get the fire out. So, you know, I think that was the big thing with us. Like we fought a lot sometimes, but it was always out of like an understanding of trying to be great. Like when somebody's pushing you and trying to hold you accountable, you know, maybe there's some days when you don't want to get that. And so it never went beyond football. It never like even if it was on the field, like, you know, people y'all used to see at practice, like we used to get at it at practice. Like we used to fight at practice. And, you know, we even had like, you know, like people want to show up to our practices just because they wanted to see like if this was going to be the day that they fight again. And it was just a part of the process, like a part of the process of trusting the person next to you, part of the process of like knowing, because like sometimes when you had those altercations, those things, you see who's willing to go to bat for you, and it makes you want to go. It makes you want to work for that guy harder. You seeing the amount a person was willing to go to push you to be great. That even if you don't like them and you get mad and you want to fight them because you're pushing them so hard, at the end of the day, when you calm down, you're like, okay, like I can fight for this person because he wants me to win so bad. He's willing to fight me for me to win. And so I think that's really what made our team so special.
Yeah, and speaking of your leadership role, and I think pretty sure DK actually mentioned and spoke highly of you in regards to being someone that comes in and helps. How has your relationship with DK, how that's maybe been an example of growth from you over the last few years, especially with someone like DK who wears his heart on his sleeve, where sometimes he gets fired up and that could result in a little penalty here or whatever the case may be?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, you know, it's a combination between a lot of the personalities that we've had before. And so really, I just felt like I just used my knowledge from those situations to kind of explain to him, you know, even like with, you know, sometimes I compare it, not all the time, but I compare it to like a Sherm. You know, when Sherm did that interview where, you know, after he made this amazing play, they stick a mic in his face right after the play, he kind of goes crazy. And then everybody like thinks it's crazy, but it's like passion. It's like he was passionate. I don't know what individual that would be calm after somebody pushed him in the face. I don't know, like, you know what I'm saying? Or like, I don't know any individual that would be that way. And so after that moment happened, there were so many eyes on him. Like everywhere he went, everything he did was just such a big deal. And even that following season, the rest was paying attention to him a lot more. And so, kind of after DK had that amazing play where, he chases Buddha down, like there's so many eyes on him and so many people like watching him. And too, there was like trying to, play him off his game. And so, I just wanted to remind him that like this is part of being a superstar and being great, that, people want to tear you down, but you can't let them.
One more on this. Looking back over the last 10 years again in totality, what's an underrated part of the team's success in those prime years that perhaps we didn't understand fully, since of course we weren't behind the scenes with you guys?
You said underestimated what?
Underrated part.
Underrated part?
Yeah.
I think the most underrated part, honestly, was how close we were. I think that was underrated. And I think we worked on it, but we kind of didn't. It was just, we was all the same age. And so we was all experiencing the same thing. Like KJ wasn't 5-6 years older than me. He was like my same age. And Cam wasn't that much older than me either. And so we just naturally spent a lot of time together. And so there was natural trips, dinners, things that happened that just made us stronger, made us come together that people didn't. There's a lot of times where, we'd be sitting at these meals and an argument breaks out because somebody says Lakers is better than Miami, or, somebody says that Texas has the best football players, and somebody from LA, like that's not the case. And then somebody from Florida step in, and now we fighting over who has the best state. But it just all made us together, all made us together. Like we would always talk football. If you sit there at dinner, we just sit there and we would talk football for hours. And you thinking you getting away from football, but, we talking scheme, at 9 o'clock at dinner, and that translated to the field. Like, we would be, it was a couple times we were sitting there and be like, hey, remember when we talked about at dinner? Oh, let's do that. And then it worked.
Well, there actually, that's an interesting one. Are there any big plays that happened that were a result of, maybe not specifically from that dinner or a dinner, but just the closeness created a moment that we all love and recognize, but don't know that it was something that was maybe cultivated behind the scenes from maybe a conversation or just how close you guys were?
I don't know if it came from a dinner or if it came from whatever, because again, we was all close, even when it came to the coaches. And so I just specifically remember there was one game in particular. I think it was the Texans game. We was in Texans. I think it was the year that Sherm got that pick and his shoe fell off.
Yeah, 2013, I think, at Houston, yeah.
Yeah, it was something like that. And I remember we talked about it way before the game, like probably on like a Tuesday. We was like, yo, they run this play every single time during when it was like 3rd and short, or it was like one of the short yards. He was like, they're gonna play action to the right. He gonna roll out to the left. We're gonna send a blitz right at it. So either Cam, you're gonna get a sack, or Sherm, you're gonna get a pick. And we was just talking about that the whole time. And so it was like the game was on the line or something, and we was just like, yo, let's call the play. Like, it's going to happen. Let's call the play. The coach was on board. Players were on board. We was all in sync. And it happened, like, exactly how we thought it was going to happen.
Well, let's get into some business stuff, man, because we know that for the most part, Bobby, you're a businessman. And I'm curious, how much of being your own agent is financially motivated versus perhaps a larger goal of expanding your business acumen and showcasing how ready you are to step into that world?
I think that's the biggest thing. I think a lot of people think it's because I want to save on my agent fees, which is cool. It's cool. But like the bigger thing that I gained from being my own agent is way, way bigger than any fees that I'm going to have. And so I think it's always been about preparing myself for life after football. It's always been about like, showing off a different side than just football. I know I can do football. I know I'm smart when it comes to football, but I think, a lot of times, like, people don't see, like, athletes smart in other areas. And so this was really, like, for me to be, like, do something bigger. And so that was just always my focus. But I think I just got kind of pent in with everybody that want to represent themselves, that don't feel like agents do a good job or whatever. Like I got kind of put into that box, but I don't feel any type of way about agents. I just feel like this is the best thing for me to do. And it's always been motivated for something bigger. It just took a while for people to see the picture.
Yeah, no, I had a tweet I think like a week ago, and I'll make this point to anybody that'll listen, like independent of whether they think Walter Jones or Steve Largent is aggressive Cortez, like, hey man, Bobby go out here, give me 150 tackles in a year, and then go negotiate $100 million deal, man. That's hard.
I saw that too. That was fire.
Yeah, that was like, hey man, that is
I didn't even realize that until I read that. I was like, damn, I did do that.
That's crazy.
No, man, it's not easy. There's so much like I consider myself pretty smart too. And then I read the CBA and I'm like, man, this is a full paragraph to just say that if you're late, the team can fine you. Like, Chris, I should read you one day. We should just read lines from the CBA that it'll be like a chunk of text this thick.
That's
and
crazy.
really, in layman's terms, it's just, hey man, if you're late to practice or something, the team can fine you. Like that stuff is really crazy. And you doing that, you negotiating your own deal with something I don't think gets talked about enough in the positive light. Like, dude, there's always people shit on Sherm's deal, shit on Russell Okung's deal when they did theirs, and then Bobby negotiates a deal where he's the highest paid middle linebacker. I think it was like $18 million per. It's like, okay, cool, that happened. It's like, wait,
my man did it all on his own.
Wait, hold on.
Well, you know why that is, though. You know why that is.
Well, yes, I know. I have a theory. Well, before I say mine, why do you think that
what's
is?
up there? What's up there? I say mine.
Mine is more on like a psychological level of just like how smart white people think black people are. And I think that's been in football. That's that's manifested itself in football for years. You know, look at the positions that they didn't think we were smart enough to play. And I mean, people who make decisions in football, those have largely been white people for the whole however many years it's been football. You know, oh, they're not smart to play quarterback or a middle linebacker. You know, we get then when it comes to coaching, it's like, can we be quarterback coaches? Can we be an offensive-minded head coach? Like, there's all this coded language about like our perceived intelligence, you know, that can go into whether we can be general managers, salary cap analysts. So like you said, you know, you're smart. But if somebody doesn't perceive you as that, and you go in there trying to do like a smart person thing, like negotiate millions and millions of dollars in contracts, and you sidestep the people who are perceived to be smart and do that for us, is agents, because there's a perception that agents do it because we are not smart enough. I think once you sidestep that, there's a natural pushback against that. You are changing the status quo. Player does this, agent does this, right? Because of the roles that we've already assigned based on our societal views of the people in these positions. Once you say, hey, no, I can do both. This is natural pushback. You're changing the paradigm here. And maybe not just be you, but the combination of you, Laramie Tunsil. I think Larry Fitzgerald does his own deals. DeAndre Hopkins, even now with Lamar Jackson and his mom, I believe, negotiating his new extension. I just think that when you want to change the paradigm in that way, and you look like we do, it's going to naturally be pushback, whether it's going to be overt or it's going to be coded with a certain type of language. So that's the short version of my theory on why that happens. That was a short version. I could do a whole thesis paper on that.
No, I feel you. I would agree with a lot of what you just said. I feel like that's definitely the case. I also feel like it's changing what the norm would be. And anytime you change what the norm is, like, people don't like it. And so it's like there's been this agents do the deals for a long time, and now players like try to or gone to do that, and they're just like kind of like you said, like, who do they think they are to be able to do something that I trained, I went to school, like I studied, like I did this, and so you shouldn't be able to do that. And so I think it's just an interesting. It's almost like, you know, a lot of times, sometimes from agents, because then too, I feel like sometimes people don't realize agents do control like some of these main media companies. And so if an agent don't want something talked about, all they got to do is say that main media company not to talk about it. And so, and they don't want to like inspire or like put that into other players' mind, because then you ruin their business model. Anything that ruin their business model, they definitely gonna attack. And so I think it's a deeper thing, like you said. I think it's a lot of what you said. I think it's a lot of like just like kind of messing up their business model. But I think at the end of the day, it's so much money and so much food out there everybody can eat. So you ain't got to bring anybody down for you to feed better. Like, you can just make sure you're good at what you do, because there's so many not good agents out there. but there are really, really good ones. And so I think a lot of times too is when you have this idea where there's 80% of players are broke when they're done playing, these agents are playing a part in that. Something has to change. Something has to be different if you want. Obviously, the mindset too. Like, players got to be better and more mindful of like their business and spending and things of that nature. But the people that's helping them need to be mindful too. So it's just interesting.
Yeah, and I think to kind of tie it into what happened with the Seahawks, like John Snyder, when like you had mentioned that you didn't hear about their intentions to move on from you this offseason, you didn't hear that from them, right? And then John kind of apologized publicly, or quote unquote apology, kind of rationalized it, saying, well, kind of we should have done better, but also he's his own agent, so it's not that buffer there. And independent of like the logistics of that or how valid that statement is, that buffer part is important because they talk crazy about players behind the scenes. Like it get bad. And if players start negotiating their own deals, they're going to hear that stuff. And it's kind of, they'll have to say the quiet part out loud if left tackles and edge rushers and quarterbacks starts going to the table themselves and negotiating. They'll have to be honest with them, or they're gonna have to change the way they talk.
And that's the thing too. Like again, I was grateful for the apology until that part. And when I heard that part, I'm like, what does me representing myself have to do with anything? Like, and I told him that too. I tried to at least. If anything, it makes you wonder or question like what was the intent in that statement, because it was almost like the way it was put out. It was, hey, look at this guy. He's been with the team for 10 years. He represented himself, and look how it happened with him. So if you don't want to happen with him, almost like it could have been taken as like a scare tactic to scare people who want to represent themselves to not do that. This could happen to you. And that's the only thing that I didn't appreciate, because it was just like, why would you say that? Because it didn't have, like, you not picking up the phone has nothing to do with with me representing myself. Because if this was the first go around, then I get it. But this is the second go around. Like, we already had difficult conversations. We already moved past that part. So for me, it was like we did that already. And for me, it's like it's a dude that's been there for 10 years. So like, even if I had an agent and my agent came and told me that, I still would have felt some type of way, because I see you in the building every day.
Yeah.
I see you every day.
Right.
So if you was going in a different direction, why would I have to hear from somebody else? I was literally just in the building too.
Dang.
Everything was just all good. Like, everything was all good. Like, I had no idea that they were thinking differently. You know what I'm saying? And so, and again, like, I feel like I've already shown that, like, I can handle the business side of things. So if you wanted to trade me and then change your mind, cool. Like, cause my love was for the city. Like, I wanted to play for the city. And my love was like, I was with the ship. Like, so, like, I was gonna be with it when we was going high. I was gonna be when we was like in turbulence. Like, that's how my mindset was. I was with the city. Like, it didn't matter. It didn't matter who we brought in. It didn't matter the changes we had. Like, if anything, in my mind, I'm like, all right, I was a part of the good times. We've had a little dip. I want to be a part of getting us back to where, we were at. Like, I was married to that idea. And it was a reminder that, no matter how you carry yourself, no matter how you've been in a certain situation, at the end of the day, it always comes down to, it's a business. So whether it's that first year guy where they can cut you whenever they feel like it, to obviously a 10-year guy where they can, no matter how many All Pros, no matter how many Pro Bowls, no matter what you've done, like, they can still let you go from a business perspective. Like, it was a reminder. But to me, I felt like I earned that right to just hit me up, because I wasn't going to, I didn't, in my opinion, I wouldn't have felt no type of way. I would have just been like, okay, cool. And I would have just been like, let's move on. But like, to hear from other people, that's the part that I didn't really see why that was the move.
Yeah, and you can, I can probably say, hey John, why would you mention that? To deflect blame a little bit was probably part of that as well. And he
was good. Like, he didn't need that. If he just leave that out, like, he ain't even have to say that. You didn't need that part, because me representing myself shouldn't have stopped you from, picking up the phone, because we've talked about it. We've talked about there's going to be difficult conversations. I said over and over again, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, and I think the last thing on like players representing themselves, I don't think, and I don't know if the league thinks this as well, but there's not going to be like some wave. Like I just named 5 or 6 guys who have done it, ain't going to be thousands of dudes doing it, right? And it's because it's hard, right? And whether you may inspire some guys, you might not. But I do one thing that you've mentioned, you do want to inspire people on is financial literacy and investing. I know one of your press conferences this week or this year when you had something different every Wednesday for us to talk about to open the conversation. One of them was the company Public, the investing platform, allows users to like buy shares and stocks and basically promotes financial literacy and awareness. And I love this quote from you when it was announced. You said, "I want people to understand how money works and how people invest." And that's a next step that I think is very fascinating. I want to hear from you on, because one thing to invest, is going to get you some money.
Yep.
Me and Chris have investments. Why? We want to get some bread, right? We want to live next to you and Cliff, and then we want to move over there, on the other side of the water. But why is it so important for you to not only make bread for yourself, but for other people to learn how to invest and be more financially literate? Like, why does that matter to you so much?
I think it's important just because if we're really serious about changing that statistic that players go, broke, 2 years out of, after they retire, I think that starts where it's at, because again, we've been so stuck in these routines. We've been so stuck in these status quos. Like, when you're a high school or college or whatever, like you're taught to get the agent to do the deal for you and get the financial advisor to manage the money for you. But you're not taught to how to manage your money or what to do with your money. And so, when we make it to the league, a lot of times, majority of the time, I don't know the stat on it, but I'm pretty sure majority of the time, a lot of these guys are coming from no money. They don't have any money. And so you go from not having any money to having a large lump sum, and you just give that money away to somebody else, and you never get an opportunity to learn how to make it work. And so, you spend majority of your life, a majority of the time, let's say let's use myself as an example. Let's say I did it differently. Let's say I relied on my agent for all 10 years, and I relied on my financial person all 10 years. And then I get done playing. Now I'm not bringing in as much money. And so now I'm not as valuable to them because I'm not bringing in as much money. So now we got to transition a little bit, because their time is not going to be always spent on, making sure you're good now like it was before. Now they just want to make sure you maintain and make sure that money doesn't go down, it goes up. But you don't know what they're doing. You have no idea what they're doing. You just got to trust them. And then think about it. I thought this was crazy like years ago, but it was like, there was a guy that I knew. He was with Nike for let's say 10 plus years, and he retired, and he wanted to get some Nikes, and he didn't know who to hit to get the Nikes. And I'm like, yo, you've been with Nike for 10 plus years, and you don't know who to hit to get some Nikes? I'm like, oh, I just always hit my agent. And I was just like, well, why didn't you start building that relationship for yourself too? Like, that's our problem. We just we just let everybody else do it. And then when we get thrown into the real world, we're so used to letting everybody else do it that it just throws us off. And it takes us a while to start getting back to like booking flights, like, you know what I'm saying? Like little stuff, booking flights, booking reservations, like things of that nature. Like a lot of people don't, like writing a check. Like a lot of people don't even know how to do that. It's 30 plus year old people that don't know how to write a check. And they've been making millions and millions of dollars for years. And so I think it's just trying to like redo that status quo, like redo like the way people think about it. Like I said, I don't think agents are bad. I don't think financial advisors are bad. But I think the way in which we use them aren't always right. Like the financial advisors should be incentivized to make sure that they don't do anything with your money until you understand what they're doing. Because then it makes it all around. Like when a player understands how to use his money and how to invest the right way, there's more money to play with. So that helps him out. You know what I mean? Like, and same thing with the agency. Like you play well, you understand the business, then you can accumulate more marketing dollars, more endorsements, more opportunities that the agent can run with. So I think it all works hand in hand.
Yeah, Chris, when did you write your first check? Remember?
Man, I can't even remember. It might have been maybe I don't even remember. Maybe like 2013, 12.
So you were like 21?
Yeah,
22?
it was something minute, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was around that time.
I didn't
if
write my
anything.
first. I graduated college. So that was 2014. I was 2022. When was your first one, Bobby? When you write your first check?
First check. I was different though, because I was a financial I had like a financial class, so we were learning about writing checks. So it probably wasn't much, probably for like $50 or something. But I
Right, I
wrote,
feel you.
you feel me? Like it was crazy. But yeah, I didn't probably like write checks until I got to the league.
Man, we should swap out. I joke about this all the time with people. Like, 'cause I want to open a school one day. We're not gonna get into too deep on that, but just like we should swap out like the Pythagorean theorem and just teach people taxes. Like,
Change the game right there.
spend
feel
way
me?
too much
Like-
time on that.
Or just add it on, like okay, like a lot of we should have a class. We should have a class on how do we apply the stuff that we learn in school. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you learn math, you learn reading, you learn writing, you learn social studies, economics, all these different things. Okay, how do you use that in real life? Like, how does that, you know what I mean? Like, like you said, how does the Pythagorean theorem apply to real life?
Haven't
How
figured that
does
out yet.
multiplying and dividing apply in real life? Like, there could be a lot of stuff talked about in that class.
I know tipping would come up big time for that.
Oh
Especially,
yeah,
my
tip,
god,
yeah.
you could
Just percentages, everything, taxes,
Yep.
all that stuff.
that would be key.
I had a class in Franklin High School here in Seattle, where in my calculus class, my senior year, we spent like a good chunk of time on imaginary numbers, like learning how those work. Like, I've never used that stuff again in my life.
Dude, even like when I was in fourth grade, my teacher was just like, man, you know what I'm saying? Like when we was learning cursive, she said you need to learn cursive because if you don't learn cursive, you'll never be able to write, because once you learn cursive, that's the only thing they use. They only use cursive.
How long did that
all we
last?
did. And the only time I use cursive is when I sign my name. That's it.
Yo, no
Crazy
one
how that
uses
worked
cursive,
out.
dog. My
When-
signature looks bad now.
Yeah, I don't
I don't
even
even know how to do all the letters anymore.
I just do a big C, scribble, 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 big A, scribble, 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 K, scribble, scribble,
Oh, your
scribble.
middle name starts with
Yeah,
an A?
yeah,
okay.
that's all I do, because
Yeah, no, I got
cursive
nothing.
went off the map in what, my 8th grade year?
I
Right
don't
out-
know.
Yeah, it
That's
was.
just-
Yeah.
that's another good one, man. No, Tyler Lockett had a tweet about that too. Like, I wish we just need to get to that point, man. Just teach me the taxes, because
Yeah.
boy, when I you tell me I make a certain amount and I do the math on the calculator, and that first
Right.
check don't say that,
Yeah,
I need answers.
I owe you
Or
how
even-
much?
Or even, I mean, they ain't never gonna do this, but teach us how to maximize our tax return. Like, how do I not pay all these taxes? You know what I mean? Like, how do I,
Right.
you know what I mean, get some money back? Like, they
My
never gonna do that.
My mom gave me the short answer. She was like, you can either take out more in your checks now and get paid later, or you can get all your bread now. I was like, that's a quick way to summarize it. Can you give me more
Yeah.
detail?
Yeah, because you're gonna pay taxes regardless. Like, they're gonna make up for it. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Now, one more thing on the business side before we get into what I think is going to be my favorite topic, where I talk about how much better I am at basketball than you. I'm going to name some people, and they've got some things in common. LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Derek Jeter, Magic Johnson, Marshawn Lynch, Russell Wilson. They all have a bunch of things in common, but one of them is people who have ownership in professional teams. And soccer, we covered soccer, baseball, NBA. Like, all these guys own something. Like, I know you want to be in that lane, again, beyond the obvious financial incentive to be an owner of a team. Why is that, Bobby being an owner, why is that so important to you?
I think, again, it's all about positioning, where you position yourself in life. I think a lot of times, again, I remember, what book was that? It was The $40 Million Slave. And I remember reading that.
It's a good book.
I read it in college or high school. And it gave the opening scene, I believe, is like, it gave this like kind of vision of, like, I think it was Larry Johnson. He played for the Knicks, right? Larry Johnson.
Keep going. I'll look at that.
Grandmama.
Okay, so he played for Charlotte.
Charlotte. That's what he played for.
Yeah.
Oh, that Larry
played-
Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah. He played for Charlotte, but he was in New York, and he was
Okay.
going crazy. He was balling, but he was heckling with his fan.
He played with both of them, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was like heckling with his fan, going back and forth, and so he ends up going for like 40 that night. And then, like, he's like talking trash to the fan, and the fan responds like, "Who cares? Like, you still a $40 million slave." And then, like, killed him, because it was like, you doing all this hard work to play, but the dude upstairs with them sweets in them boxes is chilling, ain't doing nothing. And so from that point forward of reading that, I've always had like this bigger vision of just not just being a player, but how do I get up there? Like, I'm playing down here on the field or court or whatever, but how do I get in those boxes? You know, because those are the guys that, like, we're creating these wealth that, you know, hopefully passes down to our next generation. But those guys up there, they passing this down to generations upon generations upon generations, like wealth,
Right.
like something that's tangible that you could say, like, yo, like, this is me. And so that's always been my vision to be there, and it's coming. I feel like it's coming sooner than people think.
Hey,
That's
all
dope.
right. Well, if you want to break that news on the Seahawks Man to Man podcast down the line,
Maybe I gotta come back on. I gotta beat KJ. KJ came on twice, then I got.
He did. KJ
Yes.
came on
So
twice.
I
Cliff's
gotta
two-timer.
It's not a problem. We'd love to have you, but we got to talk about something that is near and dear to, I think, all three of our hearts. We all love a little hoop. We all like to participate in it, watch it. I'm sure you're probably watching the playoffs as it's going on. The first game tips off in, I think, like 30 minutes or so. But are you more confident in your football ability or your basketball ability? Because you will throw shade at Mike, the whole, entire media room, because we got some hoopers there. But go ahead.
It depends on who's talking. I'm pretty equally confident, but anytime Mike or anybody else say that they can beat me, I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm very confident. I don't even have to see his game. I
respect that. I respect that.
You respect him saying that when he doesn't even have to see me play?
The reason being is because I've seen Bobby hoop. I've heard you talk about how Bobby hoops. It's a big guy. I'm not saying he's going to use his football skills and cheat and throw balls.
But that's the whole thing, though. Every time somebody like see me play, they be like, "Oh, I'm just going to back you down." Like, nah, like my first step is pretty quick.
Yeah, so, I'm not saying back nothing down. If anything, if Bobby's guarding me, I'm running around screens. I'm making Bobby chase me. I'm not saying Bobby's going to get tired. Dude played linebacker and basically the same thing. But that would be my goal, to try to beat him, because I know Bobby's a little stocky dude. I've met him in person, talked to him. Bobby is not, 5'9", 190 pounds. I get it. So no disrespect to Mike, because Mike's over here like, come on, bro.
I feel like you should have to see someone play.
Okay, that's not always true. I mean, sometimes, like, you got to understand where I come from. I play football. So my job is literally to read people every day. So, like, anytime, and you probably know this too, anytime, like, I challenge somebody in one-on-one, and I ask them to describe their game, if they throw out defense first, what you thinking?
They can't score.
They're not good. Like, they're not good. If hey, what is the best part of your game? If the first thing they say is, "Oh, I play defense," then I know, like, there's no way he's not good.
You're gonna sag in the paint. Do what you do, homie.
He's not good at basketball for sure. Anybody, they gonna say, "I'm a shooter. I got handles. I got something." They're going to describe something good about their game. If you talking about defense, then I'm like, yeah, you're probably not that good. And
but Mike doesn't do that, though, right?
No.
Mike
don't do that. Mike, he talk about, he say what he good at.
I could do everything. That's my thing. I'm like Jamal Crawford. That's my
anybody who say he could do everything, then that's when they just, now you like, they got
No, here's why I say that Jamal Crawford comp. Hear me out though. Here's my Jamal comp. Like, if you ask Jamal about his game, or if you watch him, if you try to take away something, he could just do the other thing.
There's a counter.
Like, he calls himself a counter puncher all the time.
Jamal plays around with people. Like, Jamal made me think I could play the NBA. And then somebody woke him up. Like, whether they talk trash to him or did something, then he started, like, putting the ball between his legs. Like, he started doing all this different stuff, pulling up from, like, half court, shooting threes. And I'm like, all right, like, maybe I should rethink this.
Career?
He's pretty good. He's pretty good at what he does.
I will say this. I know I can't beat you one-on-one, but I would not back down from a challenge. I think I can get a few points on you. I will say that.
That's cool. That's nice. I mean, I can get a few points on LeBron, maybe, but I mean,
no. You ain't getting no points on LeBron. No. Yeah, don't do that.
How y'all know?
What you mean? How we know? Bobby,
LeBron's 6'8".
There's one problem.
That's a big dude.
He's not gonna miss.
What's that mean? That don't mean anything.
That's true. The height on its own is not. You're right. There's plenty of big dudes.
He won't miss. I'll just say that.
Yeah, he's very skilled, very elite defender.
He won't miss. So
I'm going to challenge him on the day that he's not feeling it.
That's like, a smart move.
I'm just like, hey, LeBron, how you feeling? I'm not feeling today. Okay, let's go.
Let's do it. I got to keep that same energy now.
I'm not saying that the result might be the same, but I have a better chance. I just got to catch him on off day. I got to catch him on like a Taco Tuesday where he ate too much tacos.
You guys both, you'll be in LA, He can go to Lakers games. You know, you might catch him in an open run this summer. Who knows?
That's
Who
the
knows?
plan, hopefully.
Yeah.
Probably gonna be on a mixtape, getting them knees
Oh, yeah,
broken
no,
down.
that'd
Don't do
be-
that, man.
Man,
Right.
I'm gonna be like Miles Garrett. I'm gonna say, oh man, he ducking like that.
Oh, you got it in the bag like that? Okay, Bobby. All right.
No,
We're gonna see.
Miles Garrett can fly. No,
Miles Garrett, he's a different person, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's an alien. We're launching, Chris. We need like investigative music for this part of the show because we need to
Done.
launch a Seahawks man-to-man investigation. Again, I spoke to Richard Sherman recently, and I was talking about your hoop game. Everyone, for what it's worth, everyone speaks highly of Bobby's hoop game. Everybody in the locker room, from Russ to practice squad guys to
Quandre.
even like a George
Yeah.
Fenton who like played college basketball. Like everyone speaks highly. Quandre, yeah, Cliff, everyone does. Sherm does too, but he did say you guys have only played one time one-on-one. As long as you guys have known each other, played one time. It was at his house.
Is that true?
He says. This is
Bobby's
I'm
in
letting
deep
you know
thought.
where the source of the information is coming from. He says you guys just played that one time at his house. He says you won. However, he says you won because of an offensive foul that was not called.
Timeout. And one-on-one, let me make this very clear. There is never offensive fouls. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm done talking. Can you go ahead, Bobby.
Is that how it went? That's my question.
So first of all, I'm just gonna take, since we talk about business and all this different stuff, I'm gonna take 15 to 20% of the money that you're gonna save from the investigation that you was about to do, because there's no need for it. It's a waste of money. There's the truth, and then there's what Sherm's saying. We've talked about this multiple times. First of all, the odds were stacked against me. We were playing at his house, so you already know the rules are his.
Right.
Literally, the court has his name on it. So you know what I mean? Like, that just lets you know what I was up against. And obviously, clearly, I eat all three of my meals, the suggested three. Sherm might not. So I think we were playing at the portion of the day where maybe he didn't eat all of his meals. And so it's not my fault that I'm stronger than him.
Right. Okay.
And so it was the deciding basket after he already was trying to cheat. And I made the layup. I thought I was fouled. But, he didn't stay in the position that he was at. He was, wasn't strong enough. And unfortunately, he lost in his home. Like, I think it was like one of the first times he played one-on-one with someone, and the first L he took in his home. And so it's unfortunate, but it's his fault. He should have played better.
Wow. And why have you guys never played again? That was my
You
question.
should have played better.
No, that's cold. You should have played better. Is mean trash talk.
He stopped inviting me to his house for a while. You know what I mean? So,
Oh, he was hurt.
I didn't want to. Now, when I came over, everybody knew me as the Sherm killer. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't want to keep making that. I wanted to make sure we stay friends.
Wise decision. I respect that.
Sherm's a free agent now. Now we gotta get him on the pod. Yeah,
Well,
we got to.
Let's do it.
Because he didn't want to do it when he was a member of the Niners, which I understand.
Respect.
Okay, so this will count as my second time. Like, let's get us both on there at the same time, and then we'll see you'll see how my story is the same and his story is probably the same.
That will be that. So we do need to do it. We have to invest in the investigation. Like there money needs to be spent here. Are you gonna play in Cliff and Doug and Mike B's celebrity game?
I'm not sure yet. I'm trying to work that out. It's they did it very close to my birthday, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna be.
That's right. It's like mid-June. Yeah.
It's June 26th. My birthday is the 27th, so I'm not sure I'm gonna be in town.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to.
I'm gonna get Cliff and let me get in there one time.
Do your thing.
I'm
man.
not a celebrity though, so it's
Yeah, do your thing.
not fair. We got two last things before we're gonna get you out of here. The first one is besides the media game, not the media game, the celebrity game. Because if I'm in there, I'm giving you a bucket or two if Cliff lets me play. So let's keep that in mind. I've already, I gave Bobby a bucket once.
Yeah, you told me. You guys Yep.
Did you tell him how far I sagged off?
Doesn't matter. Bucket's a bucket.
Yeah, Bobby, you shouldn't have sagged off, right?
Yeah.
Come on, Bobby.
At the end of the day, a win's a win. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
What I do want to ask you is like
So if I put up 50 and he puts up 2, we're talking about the 2.
All I'm saying, my statement was true. There was no 50, by the way. I'm just saying my statement.
It was a lot of
Bobby's
points
saying-
that day.
Bobby's saying he put.
that day.
You guys went to 11. Bobby's saying he had 8 of them.
No, it
things.
was a 5-on-5. My team was trash. We were up like 9-2.
So you guys went to 11,
No, it was a 5-on-5 game.
but you guys went to 11.
Yeah, and my team ended up losing.
So Bobby had 8 of his team's.
I don't remember how many points. That's not important.
Okay.
It's,
Oh, it's
Now
not
you don't
important.
remember.
Yeah,
It
I
was a
don't
lot of points.
That's why I threw out the 8. But my bad.
No, it doesn't. We choked it away. You know how after the game they'd be like, "Did you guys win it or did
Did you lose it?
Did you lose it or did they win it?" You know, this would be like if somebody interviewed me, I'd be like, "No, we lost that game. We gave."
That's what
That was-
losers say. Losers
Mike,
say
just
that.
stop, man. Just go to the question,
No,
man.
It wasn't my fault. I was doing my thing. It was
Obviously
you know.
not enough. You had one bucket.
No, I had 2 buckets. I got 2 buckets. But
We played for like 4 hours.
no, my team kept losing. Your team stayed on a lot longer. My
Oh,
team kept
100%. Oh, I
Yeah,
forgot. I played for 4 hours.
Oh,
My
see,
bad.
this is what.
This is turned into.
No, I know. That's why I'm trying to go to the next question here to get this guy out of here. Because this is probably one of the ones that people want to know about for real. It's just, you play for the Rams. The Seahawks play the Rams, obviously, a couple times this year. We don't know whether the first game is going to be in LA or up here in Seattle, but just generally speaking, what do you anticipate Seahawks Rams, an already really heavy rivalry? What do you expect that to be like?
Can I say just take it easy on Drew Lock or whoever is at quarterback? Just throwing it out there.
Nah, I mean it's gonna be a fun game, man. It's gonna be dope. I'm gonna make sure I go crazy. To be honest, it'll be a lot of trash talking, but really, all seriousness, one of the things I hate the way that my career ended in Seattle. Like I was looking forward to this offseason as I was like preparing and all these different things of being able to like not say that was my last play in that jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's unfortunate that was the last play in that jersey, but I know it won't be my last play on that field. And so I'm excited to show that that's not the last impression I want to leave on the city, regardless of what jersey I'm wearing.
Yeah, no, I think so many guys in recent years would love to get that one back. I don't remember what Doug's last game was in the Seahawks jersey, but like from Cam and a neck injury to Mike to Cliff and a neck injury, to Sherm blowing his Achilles. It's like, man, I want somebody to go out like top blaze of glory,
Yeah. So I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that I get an opportunity to come back, play in front of the fans, one, but then two, like be able to.
You still there, Bobby? You got us? Oh, we lost you on volume. Oh,
Can you
got
hear me?
you back. Yep, we got you.
Yeah,
Got you later. So
you said you're grateful to get to come back and do what now? Finish that for us.
Yeah, I'm grateful to get to come back and play in front of the fans again, but also to that not be my last play, like regardless of the opportunity. Like, so I'm grateful that I understand, like even like the guys that unfortunately didn't have that opportunity. I'm happy I got that opportunity, and I'm gonna make the most of it.
Well, before we get you out of here, I got to steal this one from my homies at All the Smoke, Matt Barnes, Steve Jack. Appreciate y'all. Y'all do great work down there. If there's anyone out there, Bobby, that you can help us get on the show, former Seahawk, current Seahawk, and that would rock well with us, who would you have to come on Seahawks Man to Man?
Have you had DK on?
We have not. So
Not
if you
had
could,
DK.
if you could send a nice text, DK, hey, we got the homies Man to Man. That'd be dope. We'd love to have DK.
DK is gonna be the guy, man. DK is somebody that I think the world already loves, but it's gonna continue to love, and what he does, who he is as a person, and how he handles himself is just I'm grateful for the fans that he's still there. So.
Oh yeah, no, that'll be a fun one. DK is a modern day Renaissance man. He raps, he can run track, he plays football, does business, which he credits you. Yeah, no, he does do a little bit of everything in like a cool way. So yeah, there we go. We gotta get this clip out there.
Yes.
Tag DK so he can come on. So hopefully DK don't got to be a member of like the Jets before he comes on. Like Bobby had to be the Rams. Hopefully that's not what it takes, man. But you guys listen to the Seahawks Man to Man podcast. Shout out to our special guest Bobby Wagner for joining us on, man. We appreciate you. We appreciate you, Bobby, so much for coming on. Best of luck in LA and everything. Thank you guys for tuning in to the episode on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, whatever. We will catch you guys. We'll continue with our pre-draft coverage.
Yes.
We had to do a pivot there because we had to get this guy on here, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Bobby. Thank you guys for tuning in. On that note, we out, y'all.